Israel wipes out 2 Hezbollah commanders as Trump's ceasefire comes under fresh strain. Israel unleashes fury across southern Lebanon as deadly strikes raise fears of a wider escalation. Hezbollah vows to answer Israel as Lebanon braces for another potentially deadly blow. Netanyahu torches Trump's ceasefire as the Lebanon front threatens to engulf the wider Middle East. Israel said it killed 2 senior Hezbollah commanders in strikes across southern Lebanon on August 15, escalating tensions along the border. The IDF said Abu Hassan Alaa, a senior Bad unit commander, was killed in an Israeli strike in the Deir al-Zarani area. Israel said Alaa had helped plan attacks and drone strikes targeting Israeli troops operating in southern Lebanon. The IDF also said Radwan Force commander Ali Samir Al-Haj Hassan was killed in a separate strike in Anzar. The strikes came after Hezbollah drone attack wounded 3 Israeli soldiers at the Ali al-Taher area, according to Israel. Israel carried out airstrikes, artillery fire, and phosphorus shelling across parts of southern Lebanon, according to reports. Lebanese reports said heavy clashes erupted as Hezbollah fighters attempted to block Israeli military advances in the area. Hezbollah condemned the Israeli strikes, which it said killed at least 11 people, and vowed to retaliate against Israel. Netanyahu said Israel would continue its operations in Lebanon while accusing Hezbollah of violating the existing truce. Wider clashes are now feared as the latest escalation puts additional pressure on the already fragile Israel-Hezbollah truce. Washington's Gulf allies are reportedly growing frustrated with Trump's handling of Iran, as continuing attacks deepen fears that US diplomacy is not delivering lasting security. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, and Bahrain are now united in their anger, according to the Washington Post, despite differing interests and long-standing rivalries inside the Gulf. Gulf leaders reportedly fear Trump cannot manage the diplomacy needed to secure peace with Iran, particularly while the region remains exposed to missile, drone, and proxy attacks. The concern follows Trump's repeated threats against Iran that were later withdrawn, often after Washington cited progress in negotiations that did not end regional violence. Washington also pointed to movement in talks, even as Iran and its allied groups continued launching attacks that kept Gulf states on edge. Gulf states' anger at Washington is reportedly now at its highest level since February, when Iranian retaliation began bringing the wider conflict directly to their territory. The frustration is now raising questions over America's military footprint in the Gulf, despite decades of US security guarantees, bases, and defense cooperation. Some Middle Eastern nations are debating the value of hosting large US bases, according to the Washington Post, if those facilities make them targets without ensuring protection. Qatar and Bahrain host major US bases while relying on Washington for their security, making their concerns especially significant for America's regional military posture. The Gulf also remains heavily dependent on American weapons, intelligence, and munitions, meaning regional governments have limited options for quickly replacing the US security role. Saudi Arabia's new defense pact with Turkey and Pakistan may signal a bigger strategic shift, as Riyadh looks to build security options beyond its traditional dependence on Washington. A senior European official called the new three-nation pact a signal to the US, suggesting Riyadh wants Washington to recognize growing doubts over its reliability. The official said the 3 states are now diversifying their security partnerships, combining Saudi resources, Turkish defense capabilities, and Pakistan's military experience. Analysts do not expect these moves to quickly displace America's regional security role, because the US still provides capabilities that new partnerships cannot easily match. But Gulf states are reportedly exploring alternatives as confidence in Washington weakens, using new partnerships to gain leverage and reduce strategic dependence. Gulf states wanted Trump to address Iran's ballistic missile arsenal, which remains a central threat to cities, oil infrastructure, and military facilities across the region. They also wanted Washington to restrain Tehran-backed proxy forces, whose drones, missiles, and attacks have repeatedly widened the conflict beyond Iran's borders. Gulf leaders sought a durable end to regional attacks, rather than temporary pauses that could collapse while Iran and its allies retain the ability to strike again. They wanted safe maritime traffic restored through the Strait of Hormuz, a vital route for global oil, gas, and commercial shipping disrupted by the crisis. Gulf governments also wanted a clear and consistent US strategy, rather than shifting threats, paused military action, and uncertain diplomatic signals. Above all, they wanted Washington to prevent Gulf states from becoming targets. after the conflict exposed how quickly regional allies can be drawn into a US-Iran confrontation.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you'll have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a banking dynasty meets tides of world history, intrigue, and a dash of myth?
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.